Oh man, it's Patrick Stewart.
No more views than us.
Making the best decision of his career.
Is it? Is that Patrick Stewart?
No, but he was in the Emoji Movie.
Oh yeah.
Stop
reminding me of that.
I should tweet. We should tweet him this video. Be like, "Hey, is this you? Is this your account? Found Patrick Stewart's
No,
YouTube
I don't want Patrick
account."
Stewart mad at me.
We should, from PixelJunkies.
He knows Ian McKellen.
Found at Patrick Stewart's YouTube account. It's just that video.
Apparently, Lord. I don't know how true this is, but
Yeah.
apparently, Lord had a secret fucking Twitter account that she used, or that would rate onion rings. And that's all
Really?
that did, and found that apparently was being used by Lord. And so someone was like, wait, does that make her Lord of the Rings? I'm wondering if that's why she made this fucking thing, if it's true.
Probably.
It's probably not true. Would be my guess.
Don't take away my dreams, Aaron. You don't have to tell me things aren't true. Fuck,
So in the movie, or in the song Tennis Court, she's singing about the little bright things she's bought are just onion rings from various restaurants.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Pixel
Oh my
Junkies.
God.
You're listening to the Pixel Junkies podcast.
Please leave
episode
that in.
145.
I guess so.
I'm one of your hosts, Rory DC. How y'all doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
We're back.
And who are
We're
you
back.
guys?
We're back.
Right, it's
I'm Aaron.
episode 145. Been in every one of these. Except for, like,
Hopefully you've
two.
seen a couple others and not starting at this one. But if you are, welcome.
I'm
We're
Adam.
back. And I'm Aaron.
Yes. And we're back after New Year's because we got some new hardware. I'm going to do the Band-Aid thing. I'm just going to get it off early. So Aaron got a new
We're
graphics
going to address
card.
it again later, but go ahead.
Aaron got a new graphics card. Do you want to talk about it so we can get it over with?
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing. Yeah, well, so the card I had died. You may be able to see it behind me on top of the shitty CRT TV. And I replaced it with a 1080 Ti. So we're playing The Division. And it's...
That's not it.
That's the one he replaced it with.
well, that was the
Temporarily.
card that AMD gave me
This is
a
what we're
little
using
while
currently.
ago. And it kind of filled the shoes of the Titan for a while. I.e. not well, because it's a workstation card and not a gaming card.
Yeah.
That's why it's so tiny. But I got the 1080 Ti now, and it's an awesome card. It's good. Super good.
They are very good. We have a couple at work I haven't had a chance to play with yet, but I look forward to I don't know, doing some really cool I don't know, neural network shit or whatever it is I decided to do with them. Because cards are really, people don't realize how much like a video card is useful for outside of just video shit.
Yeah.
Like they're workhorses. They can do a lot of really impressive stuff.
Yep.
So how long have you had to play with the card now?
I got it on the 8th, so Monday. So basically a week.
And nothing but positive experiences?
Yeah, I've had some weird issues, and I guess they've been issues that I've always had. I've just now noticed them for whatever reason. When I first plugged in the card, its idle temps were basically about 45 degrees, which is not bad for the kind of card that it is and in the environment it's in.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I can't hear audio. Okay, yeah, we're back. Oh, shit. I'm gonna dead. Yeah, so anyway, so basically, I've started to realize that having additional screens plugged into the graphics card caused the clock speed and the temps to shoot way up. And that's been a thing with the Titan. The Titan used to idle at around 60 degrees, and that's what this was idling at when I had all of the screens that we use for recording and stuff like that plugged in. And so I was wondering, like, why all of a sudden is the temperature so hot for nothing changing? Like, is it broken or, like, what happened? So anyway, that's what I found out it was multiple screens. And I guess because the TV is not the same as the monitor that's running it, it has some, I guess it's trying to sync the refresh rates or something.
Yeah,
it is a
right.
different sort of
Completely.
display.
Those displays have nothing in common. One's a TV, one's a monitor.
Yeah. So there's, like, even different aspect ratios. Like, that one's cropped a little bit for whatever reason.
No one knows why. We've been trying to figure that out forever.
Yeah. And I guess it's just because some of the pixels go behind the bezel. That's all I can really think. But that's why. And so that's really the only reason. And on top of extending it to another screen, I get some really random frame rate drops, which is probably, in some of the videos we recorded before, maybe Dishonored. And Dishonored may have just been because the card was dying.
Yeah.
Or it could have also been because it was extended to another screen, so it wasn't going to run on high settings. That may be the case with this. I was playing it, just doing some tests yesterday, seeing if it could run on Ultra. Because normally, if I just run it on this screen, it can run on Ultra. The Division I'm referring to can run on Ultra 60 frames a second, no problem.
It should be able to.
Yeah. But as soon as you plug that screen in, every now and then it drops to 40. It's not like
steady.
It's not like 57 or 45 and then back up to 60. It's like 40.
40 frames.
And it stays at 40. So it's like, that's really strange. And I guess it just has something to do with the extension. So I may have to, depending on how the podcast goes, I may have to go in and fool around with the settings a bit to lower it. But so far it seems fine. And other than that, it's a fantastic card. I haven't really had any issues with like having to fool around with settings. I think for the most part, any game that I run that doesn't run at a solid 60, it's because it's not optimized or there's like issues with the engine. Like,
so one of the things I wanted to try was doing Dishonored 2 with the multiple displays to see what that does, because Dishonored 2 runs perfectly on my 1060 at home. So, and like, I know it would run amazing on the 1080. Even though that game does have optimization issues, there's no way around it. So I'd like to see what we can do with Dishonored 2 on multiple displays when we ever get a minute. As soon as you got this card, I think me and Andrew had specific things we wanted to see. Like Andrew messaged you about Fallout 4. So
are there still frame rate drops? Like, yes.
Yeah. So we did sort of solve that mystery. But we're really excited to have the new card, because not having even, of course, Aaron, I mean, this is his computer. He has to live with it more than I do. But even for me, when the Titan died, it was pretty sad. And like the bit where we didn't have one was, I don't know, it was pretty rough. Like,
yeah. And I mean, I get, like, me and Andrew kind of discussing it a little bit. Like, that I found out that the multiple displays causes basically the card to work twice as hard. And the Titans have been dealing with that ever since I got it, basically. Yeah. So I was wondering, Andrew was wondering as well, whether or not that was the cause of the death of the card. Maybe that wasn't the cause of it. Maybe it didn't help it. Maybe it could have been prolonged a bit had it not been treated like that. But NVIDIA, I guess if you're in a similar boat and you're running multiple monitors and your card is constantly working overtime, NVIDIA has a program called Inspector that you can download, and it's not super streamlined, but you could probably find a little guide or something online about how to use it for basically power saving. So when you're not playing games on multiple screens or playing a game at all, it basically shuts down the necessary power to do all that stuff. So your clock speed and your temps go all the way back down to normal idle. Without having to unplug anything or reroute anything, which is really good. So I recommend checking that out.
So can I ask just real quick about the game? Can you switch shoulders?
You cannot, but the game will switch shoulders for you if it.
If it deems it appropriate.
Yeah. If your character is too far in the corner and you're aiming at something over in the corner, then it'll swap.
Okay, sure. That's an interesting way of doing that.
It's I because the successor to this, I would say. Wildlands gave you the option to swap.
It's a good option.
Yeah.
I never like, my pet peeve in games, the way I always say it is, don't do something automatically that I could do myself.
Are we done talking about graphic card?
Yeah, we're done talking about graphics cards. Next on our topic, well, actually, technically speaking, first on our topic list, we just wanted to get this get to this quick, as Spectre and Meltdown.
Yeah, so kind of speaking of hardware issues and bugs, this is probably the biggest one ever.
No, I don't know if I don't think it's the biggest one ever, but it's certainly the biggest one
probably
recently.
This year.
It'll be I will say it's the biggest. It's going to be the biggest one that happens in 2018. Guaranteed.
And if this isn't the biggest security breach of 2018, we're in trouble.
Well, part of it is that it's like, I mean, technically you're right about security breach, but it's not the traditional kind of security breach where someone finds something and exploits it, and we have a big to-do about the whole operation.
It's more just there's a potential here that this is weak.
Yeah.
And it is.
Well, it is, yeah.
So from my understanding of it, the way that this bug works is, and now you can correct me because you know more about computers than I do, but when cards go to do, like, say I wanted to get a computer to do something, and the results were, it was either result A or B that the computer could do. Like, it could either turn the light on and say, I want you to do something with the lights. Okay, I can turn the lights on or off. And it does both in a simulation, and then in order to save processing power, and I say I want you to turn the lights off, and he says okay, and it turns the lights off, and it disregards all that the kind of simulated turning the lights on. You know what I mean? Like, so it does two simultaneous simulations of processes in order to speed up processing time, and then from my understanding is it deletes the one you didn't use and keeps the one that you did. And this bug allows you to access the one, like people to access the one that you still.
Oh, okay, it took me a while to understand where you're going with that.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Oh, yeah. So that's not bad. The
you can probably explain it better than I can.
There's a bunch of analogies for this one. The technical details are something we're kind of gonna not treat on.
Yeah.
The best, if you really want to get into the computer science of what's happening, the best video I've seen on it so far, and I've seen a bunch of the videos. The only one that I think that really does it justice in a digestible amount of time is the Computer File video. So Computer File is a popular channel. You will have no trouble finding their video on Spectre and Meltdown. I forget, I wish I could give credit to the guy who actually did the video and did the explanation. But his explanation, he spends the first 4 minutes doing an explanation anyone can understand, and spends the next 4 minutes doing an explanation for, like, if you're a programmer.
Okay.
So, which is really cool, so you get a bit of everybody. Also, Level 1 Techs in their podcast, they start with about a 10-minute breakdown of Spectre and Meltdown.
But that's basically what it is, right? It's
it's not bad. That's not bad. The
like a very simple version, because it's all I understand.
Sure,
and they're able to use that kind of the simulated process that hasn't been used as a way of accessing the stuff that it would have.
So there's, due to the way modern processors are designed, and this is what makes it not so much of a traditional security breach, is the fact that this is like, it's exploitable, but it's also a common practice in the way processors are designed. And by common practice, I mean it's a universal practice.
Yeah, but right? I don't think they realized it was quite as exploitable as it was.
Yes, that's precisely it. Modern CPUs need to do certain, what I'll call predictive things to do what they do. It turns out you can exploit certain aspects of that to do things you're not supposed to do, to see things you're not supposed to see, and it's widely exploitable. Like, it's exploitable from a variety of things.
Yeah, because this is with Intel chips only, right? I don't think they found this problem.
True.
No,
that's not true. That was widely misreported.
Okay.
And by widely, I mean almost universally misreported. So anybody would be forgiven for thinking that, but it's false.
Oh. So it's any chip can
any Intel, AMD, ARM chip is,
so all of them.
Yes.
Is anyone else making chips?
No, for all intents and purposes. That's
what?
You heard?
Did you say Lay's? God damn it!
That's pretty good.
You piece of
Ain't
shit.
no security flaws with Lay's.
So
yeah, there are. Every time I open the bag up, all the chips are crumpled.
The problem with Lay's is you can't have just one.
That's shipping.
So
That's
there's like
security.
a real flaw there. It's like Lay's takes advantage of like marketing, like
Plain
EA in
chips
that way.
are awful. Like Lay's plain is awful.
I don't agree.
No, it's just awful. It tastes garbage.
Yeah,
That's a lot of coffins.
But so anyway,
That.
I'll get to the specifics because there's a really understandable reason why everyone said it was just Intel. But
Intel's used in most things.
The interesting thing here is that it's widely exploitable from a variety. You can actually download sample code that you can see, like officially supported sample code that shows you, that can demonstrate this happening.
Yeah.
Right? So you can sort of see and really believe. So the reason this was reported, so Spectre and Meltdown are not the same thing. And the reason this was reported the way it was is because Intel is the only one that's vulnerable to both.
Oh.
Right? So
that's bad for Intel.
Yes.
And bad for everyone.
Horrendous.
Everyone uses
Intel. So Spectre is like, a Meltdown is almost like a special case of Spectre. So Spectre affects everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very convenient that was right there.
And Spectre, AMD, Intel, ARM, that's everybody. Meltdown is Intel. Intel are the people who have to worry about Meltdown.
Okay.
There is an extra, I'll call it a check. It's not really a check. But there's an extra check in the way AMD makes processors.
Yeah.
That does not make it vulnerable to the same things Intel is. Right?
Yeah.
They just have a different set of criteria. It's not like like, we need to. This is one of the few security breaches where I kind of don't blame the companies involved, like, because it's been going on for so long and no one noticed until about 6 months ago.
Who was it? 6 months ago.
So
who kind of discovered it? Was it somebody?
Google.
Oh, Google,
I believe was the.
Didn't some guy talk about this in like the 90s and nobody listened to him?
That may be true as well. I didn't hear that. I'll look into that.
So this is because most times when you hear about big flaws in security programming or just in like chip design or hardware or software, it's because somebody's exploited it and they're like, oh fuck, we got to patch this.
Now this was the opposite.
Yeah.
The white hats got this one.
Yeah.
And they rightfully kept it quiet.
Yes.
And just told the companies that, hey, you better get on this.
So, like, can you imagine that phone call? Be like, hey, Intel, this is Google. It's like, oh, man, I love the doodle today. Ah, thanks. It's Anne Frank's birthday. We wanted to do something or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, you got a massive bug.
Yeah.
In your, there's a problem with your chips. What kind of problem? Well, anyone can download a code from our website and hack. I hate that term, but gain access to gain access to the modem. Oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going for golf later though, right? Oh yeah.
But what I think the way it originally got leaked out of that, because they did a good job. Fire. It is good fire. Look, and take notes. Resistance 2. Resistance 2. Yeah, it was so. Anyways,
derailing.
God, what the fuck was I even talking about? I know I was talking about Spectre and Meltdown. Oh, yes, how it got leaked. So that's important, because they kept it on lockdown pretty well. But I think the original way this got sort of leaked, I'll say, to the public, was Linux updates. I think someone saw something in a set of Linux notes that they were like, what's this supposed to fix? And then it's...
oh, shit!
And so... So that was sort of how this all came about to the public. But
now, from my understanding of this, because I haven't really looked into it because I'm less the tech guy than you are. But in terms of data, loss and stuff like that, I don't think any data has been lost. So it's not as big as the fucking Equifax data security breaches that happened earlier, or like later on in 2017, which to my knowledge was one of the bigger data breaches of personal information ever. Because I think half of America lost their social insurance numbers, which is kind of a big deal,
and no one else gave a shit. That's what was pretty critical about that. But also Intel released a kind of dog shit press statement, which was like, oh, by the way, don't worry, no one can delete or modify your data. They can just take it. And it's like, well, that's not very reassuring.
It's not what I want. Don't worry. Nobody can... using this new security system, nobody can kill or rob you. They can just rape you. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
As long as it's just my anus.
So the other thing... So while it sounds like, okay, so everyone's affected by Spectre and Intel's affected by Meltdown. It doesn't sound intuitively that much worse that Intel is affected by one more bug, but it's actually substantially worse. Because this sort of thing, you need some, you cannot put a software Band-Aid on this kind of problem.
Although they're trying.
The official recommended solution from I forget the Computer Security of America Association, I forget what they're, it might be, I don't know the acronym, but it's very intuitive.
I think it's the EPA.
Forgotten it. Their official recommendation on this was make different processors. They didn't have some software thing or some patch thing. So the Intel patch that does this will have performance impact. The bullshit part of this was the way this got stolen by media, and they took the number 30%. That number is a lie. It's a deception, because I believe the slowdowns were rated between 5 and 30. 30 is an upper bound, not the number.
And that was my understanding of it too. Although, from my understanding is most products that are coming out with these updates, it's not just oh, this only affects Mac or Samsung phones or whatever. It's most devices use this and are going to experience a slowdown. I'm guessing most devices are not going to exhibit a massive slowdown, and you're really only going to notice it if you're dealing with like high-end video games or like lots of processing,
Yeah,
but like your Joe Blow average internet browser's probably not going to notice.
They won't notice, and that's the thing that the other thing that I thought got misreported here, or like should have been talked about more, is most tasks that people perform aren't processor intensive. Even gaming isn't that processor intensive.
Shorted out his graphics card.
Like, gaming is video card intensive, right? It's GPU intensive. So that's
I'm guessing NASA's biting their fingernails at this one.
Yeah, I mean, this sucks. Honestly, this sucks for me more than it sucks for most people.
It'd be great if they're just like, all right, we just ordered 20,000 new Intel chips.
Yeah, really
they read this article. Ah, damn it.
Like,
pour water on it. Useless.
Like, programmers and people who do, like, data analysis and version control are probably all upset, including myself.
I think MIT went into, was it Titan? Is that the name of their fucking...
That they were like...
their supercomputer?
Yeah,
you think they went in and just started pouring coffee? And they were like...
this
is useless now!
So there will be slowdown. We don't know the specifics on the slowdown yet. We'll still be weeks before we have all the information. But so that's why Intel got the brunt of the media coverage more than they deserved. Like, and also a part of it too was that AMD's press release was actually, as I recall, fairly like good. And the other important part of this. So I just said Intel's patch will have a huge effect. Yeah. AMD's won't. That's the other thing. Is that they're...
is it Microsoft that made the Intel patch?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
They're like, all right, we'll do it for you because you're not doing anything, I guess.
Yeah, Intel doesn't care.
This is bad all around for Intel because they're just, I mean, like, obviously every company's being affected, but they seem to be handling it the worst, and they're also the worst hit by this.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's bad all around.
Yeah, and it's a shame because they're by far the biggest of the
They are the biggest.
three.
They own a
I mean,
good share of that
I'm pretty
market.
sure mine has an Intel sticker right on the front.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, we're staring at it. And
I'm sure that has an Intel chips in there as well.
So
poor bastard.
The fix for AMD is actually pretty simple. It's like one extra command and it's fixed, right? It's a very, very minor thing. So yes, everyone's
this is like you're saying, this is not like if you really want this problem to go away and then never happen again, you're honestly just gonna have to get a new stuff. But like for most people, it's probably not, because here's the thing: it affects everyone, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it affects everyone." But like, it affects everyone. It's in my mind, it's going to be very unlikely that you're going to be specifically targeted by groups. If you, you know what I mean? Right. Because there's so many of you.
Right. Yeah, you're 100% right. And if people think this is the only security flaw in their
I was using health pack, it wouldn't take it
on their home systems, then they're fucking lying to themselves.
Yeah.
Like this is this is not the only thing people can do to get your information.
We're just not very great when it comes to computers, honestly.
Yeah. And like this will, and I mean in terms of like
Christopher never had these problems.
Yeah, no kidding.
The first
Turing reference, by the way. I fucking 1% of our viewers got it, but
yeah.
I hacked his anus.
So did a lot of men.
God,
he was gay.
So that's basically, I think,
computer.
Everything I wanted to say about Spectre Meltdown. I hope I cleared up some of the mass misreporting that went on for this.
That's the worst thing that happens. That me and Aaron had a really great discussion about a similar topic. I don't want to bring it up on this podcast, but about clickbaity news articles, and if you saw very much with this kind of this Spectre and Meltdown bug, where like the story comes out from I don't know, Microsoft saying we will be there's a flaw noticed in these Intel AMD chips that we use in all of our products, from Xbox to laptops to whatever. We will be implementing a patch that that temporarily fixes the problem. Some devices might notice anywhere from a 5% to 33% slowdown, but it will not be noticeable for most users. And then BuzzFeed picks it up and says, your computer and Xbox is going to be slowed down by 30% in order to stop a fatal a fatal bug that could in order to stop terrorists from getting access to your personal data. That's not what was said at all.
Me and Aaron talked about this when it was happening. Freaking the No video was called like PC gaming apocalypse or some bullshit like that.
That's how
Fuck off, please.
That's the first time I heard of it, and I was just like, oh shit, like here's this thing. And then we, the more we looked into it, because I didn't see anyone else talking about it till like a day later when CNN and all the other major news. So like good on the No for being like the first on the scene, I guess. But fuck.
They were on it pretty quickly, but Jesus, do they not know what they're talking about?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of fucking clickbait.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the problem. I hate clickbait is not good in terms of anything.
I mean, you get
except for like getting views, because
you should not be like, for instance, like if you look up Spectre and Meltdown, which I'm doing right here just to kind of express a point. And my point is kind of failing me here. But
they should rename some of these
like
tech
Intel
bugs
chips.
and make them a little bit more friendly. So like Mrs. Johnson, who runs a bakery, isn't getting freaked out, because if you're like Spectre and Meltdown bugs on your laptop, she's like, oh my god. But if you name them like the begonia bug or the chihuahua bug.
No, then you'll just have old women spraying like detergent water at their computers.
Like, I'll give you a for instance.
Those bugs.
There's an article here about Spectre and Meltdown. Who's it from? It's from the Financial Times. Okay, so yeah, great. The Verge. Look, if you're reading about this on the Financial Times, you're a prick. All right, like you don't like.
It's a harsh statement to Rory. Better watch out, Thomas. Don't be reading them Financial Times for your tech.
You shouldn't be going to the Financial Times for your... I'm sorry, maybe the person who wrote this is a computer scientist. I take it back. Maybe it's a brilliant article. My point is, non-tech sites shouldn't be talking about tech shit, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I don't know, and while the Financial Times article may not be a good example, I've read mainstream articles about Spectre and Meltdown, which were solid garbage.
So can we do a roleplay thing for a minute?
We don't do that very often, Adam, and you're the only person who's ever suggested it. But okay, let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to be CNN news anchor, and you're going to be a expert I've brought in to talk about this crisis. Well, hang on, I got to get in the character.
Well, good start.
All right, so computer apocalypse. Is your PC trying to kill you? Recent news from AMD and Intel says that there's a fatal system-killing bug seen inside of a lot of their chips used in most products you use for everyday life, like your blender or your soda pop machine. I have with me here Rory Campbell of whatever you're from. Rory, is this going to affect my internet speeds?
No.
I'm hearing a positive yes. Thank you very much, Rory. The terrorists are winning. Now, next, can Goose fly? I don't know.
That's a really good point. And sometimes mainstream people will bring in proper sources, and we'll get an honest opinion. Most of the time, they just read half a press release and they were distracted while they were doing it because they were also on Twitter and they had their thumb up their ass. And
I think what we can all agree on is that I shouldn't do improv.
Well, when did Wolf Blitzer get here?
Yeah, Wolf. That's what he does at the beginning, right?
Is it?
Yeah. No, I'm totally Glenn Payette for all our St. John's homies.
I don't know who that is.
Glenn Payette. St. John.
Keep trying, you'll get her going.
We always come to this when I feel like this is oh my god.
Fucking wait.
Audacity is losing its goddamn mind over there. Fucking Atlantic Ocean sim over on Adam's Audacity screen.
Yeah, we should probably get off this topic and talk about
we've said pretty much everything. Let's talk about CES. So we're only going to highlight a couple things because there's only a few things that me and I think Aaron wanted to talk about, and maybe Adam wants to talk about some of it.
I don't know what this is.
Okay, it's the real life Stark Expo, basically. That's their.
I didn't watch that.
So they show off
the Stark Expo.
They show off.
I watched that because I had hot women in Iron Man.
They show off, new tech. There's only a couple items of interest to me because I'm not interested in laptops, fucking clown laptops that turn inside out or whatever the shit.
We've turned this bag into a kumquat and it runs fucking Windows 4 and comes with Minecraft as standard.
Fucking Lenovo and Acer and all this shit keep releasing these fucking balloon animal laptops that go into shapes you'd never need them to, keyboard upside down, monitor facing to the sky. guy.
Yeah.
Like a fucking accordion laptop.
By the way, kumquat's one of those fucking words that I have a lot of trouble with because it's not spelled how it looks, or it is not spelled how it sounds. Sorry. Like kumquat is just a very confusing word for me. Like if you said, Adam, I'm gonna kill you unless you can spell kumquat, I'm gonna die.
Well, no offense, Adam, but there are a lot of words like that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying this is one of them because I fucking brought it up.
It's spelled quatcom, isn't it?
Yeah,
maybe.
Aaron ensuring Adam's death just in case that one
does
scenario
does it begin with a C, a Q, or a K? I don't know. Therefore, I'm gonna die.
It begins with an X. Trick word.
I'm sorry, Adam. I'm an asshole.
No, it's all right. I make fun of your fucking color blindness all the time.
Fair play.
This is my thing. You can make fun of. I don't have very many of them.
So
I have a lot.
So CES. I think the first thing me and Aaron want to talk about is the Vive Pro.
Yeah, boy.
Because, like, probably no one knows what exactly this is or what it improves or, in most cases, does not improve over the Vive.
Yeah.
So, there's, like, if you own a Vive, probably don't get a Vive Pro. Like, if you don't own a Vive, get a Vive Pro. That's
unless you have lots of money.
Is the difference between an Xbox One and an Xbox One X?
It's less. It's less difference.
Yeah.
There's a 78% resolution increase.
It's got, you wouldn't expect it, but mathematics, of course, doesn't lie, Rory. You, of course, of all people know this.
Yeah.
That's such a small pixel increase in its horizontal dimension, and I guess vertical dimension as well, is such a massive increase. I guess just because it's the same size of screen.
Yeah, like, you wouldn't need much.
Like, it's an extra 700 pixels wide.
Yeah.
Like, on a normal screen, you're like, 700 pixels, I don't really care. JPEG's that tiny or garbage looking, so who cares?
Same field of view, it's still 110-degree field of view.
But somehow it's like 2 times the pixels almost. It's or almost 2.5 times.
Yeah.
It's retarded.
So does it still have the big fuck off massive power cable attached to the back of it that weighs my head down?
So this is probably the one biggest improvement.
It's not a power cable.
There's a wireless adapter coming to it. That's the biggest improvement.
I don't think that comes with it as standard. Maybe it does.
I thought it was a separate thing.
Yeah, well, they are releasing the cordless adapter separately for the original Vive as well, but they didn't explicitly state that it's coming with the Vive Pro. They just said it will be available for it.
Oh, okay. So maybe it just comes with it. Should come with it. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a version of it that it does come with. I don't know what the price difference is. Basically, it's a regular Vive with a higher definition screen. People are saying that it minimizes on the screen door effect, which all VR headsets up to now, I guess, have had that issue. Which, when you're playing a game, is easy to forget or not even pay attention to. But it's good that they're upping the resolution. It has a second camera on the front. I guess so when you're using the camera mode, you can see in 3D.
Okay.
That would make sense. And then it also has headphones built in, which are decent headphones, but are not noise canceling or anything, and I don't think they cover your ears, so I can't imagine they're
so you too can pay $1,500 to play kind of Fallout and kind of VR.
Can I ask a question about the headphones?
Awesome.
Which I think is critical to how good this is. Yeah. Are they removable?
I would imagine so.
They better be fucking removable, because in VR headset headphones are fucking terrible, and they're way worse than any headphones any of us own.
Yeah, my Vive came with headphones, but they were like the equivalent of a rubber band. Like they weren't, they were the shitty little like ones you stick in your ear.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine, because in some cases, depending on how you adjust your straps, it might cover the top of your ear, and you're not going to want headphones like these, which cover your ear, because then the top of the headphone will be resting on the strap. And I guess that's why they just kind of rest on your ear with the Vive Pro. And it's also blue for some reason. So
separating your accessories is strictly better. It's always been better. That's why I've always been a supporter of headphone, microphone instead of headset.
I think it's just an idea to combat the Oculus, because the Oculus has the same sort of stuff.
And they're fucking terrible.
Now, here's the thing. I can see it making sense from a business point of view, because if you got some like 15-year-old kid, is like, well, if I gotta get a Vive, I gotta get a headset along with it, and that's gonna cost more money, and it's already more expensive when I can get the Oculus.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Yeah.
Now that's not it's not the best thing for you, but obviously it does cost.
Well, it's good that it remedies.
Like
sound is very crucial in many cases for VR.
But most people, Aaron, also don't know what sound is. Like, most people don't know what sounds good.
I know what you're trying to say, but that was the most ludicrous, that was the most patronizing, fucking snooty, look down upon you statement you have ever fucking.
People,
Aaron, I know what you're trying to say, but most people don't know what sound is.
Like, it's true. It's just true. Like, so many people don't know what sounds good. Like,
yeah, I mean, fair enough. So, and if they don't have good headphones already.
Well,
this is exactly it's probably a step
up. If you're coming from friggin' iPod earbuds, then, you're probably not going to notice a difference.
I upgraded recently, because I got, for Christmas, I got a Bluetooth headset, and so I upgraded from my Beats by Dre, which was a fairly decent headset, but it's 3 years old at this point, and it's starting to show. And also I just wanted something wireless, because fuck wires.
Sure,
And the sound is comparable. It's a little worse for some songs, a little better for others. It just depends, just because it's different technology. My mom has a cheap set of like Sony earbuds, and I put them on the other day because I'm like, oh fuck. She was like, here, Adam, I want to show you a song, and so I put them in. I'm like, nope.
It's like dying, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like dying slowly.
Yeah, it's terrible. Anyways, so
it's also, I'm just thinking of it now, it's probably a good replacement for if you're getting rid of the cable out of the back of the Vive. I guess I'll just pick it up and show you, because it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
It's got the audio cable as part of the set that plugs in. So yeah, so on the Vive, it's got the audio jack here. So if you want to be mobile and have your headphones plugged in, then you can obviously have your own set plugged in. But if you detach this and put on the wireless adapter, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, there's the audio jack there, and it plugs in to the front there. If you detach this and put on the wireless adapter, I'm not sure it'll be...
I see what you're saying. You're saying it's not there anymore.
It's not as versatile to have the cable running to the top of your head to plug in up here, And maybe there'll be an adapter down here with the wireless thing. I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet, but I imagine getting rid of this cable will be a bit more cumbersome.
And I think I've heard it's an ergonomic improvement. I mean, that's good. And ergonomics are important, but it's gonna be. Look, the fact of the matter is, if you're wearing a big headset on your head, it's not because of good ergonomics. That's just it, right?
It's also apparently more comfortable as well than the existing Vive.
And that's good. I mean, it's
going the right way.
That's cool that they're doing that. The other thing I wanted to mention from CES, just because I think it's funny.
Well, before you get into that, I just want to say, I'm imagining, because the original Vive was like, $1,000, Aaron?
More or less, yeah. I think it was like 800 or something.
Bear in mind,
we're
in Canada town, so
I'm guessing the Vive Pro is probably going to cost $1,200.
It'll definitely be more expensive.
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever. I really want the Vive Pro to show up in somebody's house in a completely blank, brown package, with just tossed in with the instruction manual on top and just filled with packing peanuts. Like no ostentatious packaging.
It's not even in a box. It's just like loose parts in a cardboard box.
Didn't they practically just leave yours on the side of the road or some nonsense?
Yeah, well, for those of the population that were not subject to ordering a Vive on launch day, i.e. the part of the population that will live much longer than I will for having to deal with it.
It's the worst launch ever, wasn't it?
It was not handled well. I mean, I understand it's a big device and it comes with a lot of stuff and manufacturing and yada yada, but it was not handled well. Like, I ordered the thing and it's like, okay, thank you. Your order has gone through. You'll get your information when we get closer to release, whenever that was, another month later. Then they basically came out and said, like, okay, we're shipping Vives now. You'll get your information based on whenever the device will ship. So, like, once it ships, you'll get your information. Except it was to the point where, and I've never seen it in like commercialism before, where it was to the minute. So it's like I ordered mine within like 10 minutes of launch. This is like the order numbers for this person, this person, this person, this person. 11th minute, you're like another 40,000 orders down. So it's like, it was crazy, the drop off. And I never got any shipping information first to last. I actually had to get in touch with one of the HTC's like PR people. And she like actually started doing some digging to figure out any information she could about my specific order. And the best information she could give me was that sometime in May. So like, because some people were expecting it in,
March,
in like June, or was it whenever it came out. There was a couple. I think it was April when it launched, and some people were expecting it in May. So she told me May, and then I think it was in April, like the end of April, is when it showed up. So I had no idea when my package was coming. It was like, I guess I'll get it when I get it. And anyway, so yeah, the Vive, it was actually before the podcast. You can go back, and it was like episode 64 or something like that. I was leaving to go to the podcast, and it was just on the step.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't leave a note. They did not ring the doorbell. They didn't do anything. It was just on the step. And the only reason I found it was because
because you were leaving the house. Yeah.
So it's good that I live in a not shitty neighborhood. Otherwise, that would have been gone, and I never would have known it came at all.
Yeah.
Also, how awesome would that, like, well, not awesome, but how funny would that be? You come home from the podcast and it rained torrentially, so your thing is so... still,
well, like, it was wet. It was wet out. The box was wet underneath.
It's also worth noting that...
How nervous were you when you opened that up?
I was like, okay, how long has this been sitting here? But it wasn't too wet, but...
Like, it's also worth noting, we live in one of the rainiest places in the country.
I think it might be one of the rainiest places in North America.
Yeah, like
in terms of precipitation, we have more precipitation than London.
Yeah, exactly.
And in fact, I think the only places that really beat us for precipitation are rainforests.
It rains all the goddamn time.
I think the longest we've ever had of straight rain is something like 60 days.
And we've got on this giant rock we live on. We have a bunch of, like, bullshit towns that get flooded all the time. Mm-hmm.
Although Aaron's house is probably not a flood zone.
No, probably not. But then again, you remember when we were 12 and everything was a flood zone?
Well, that's because city planning in the city doesn't exist.
Yeah, no kidding. I went to school next to a lake, man. It was
Lake
crazy.
Crest.
Yeah, that's how it's got its name, actually. It was next to a lake. Then they moved and the name was fucking dumb. But, like, it was, to see the lake where it was, that lake had all kinds of not lake parts. It was like when Andrew installed that fucking Better Cities mod and everybody was swimming in the damn, like, middle of the town. It's like a lot like that. Had steps going down into, like, the lake. It was pretty funny, but we got to go home out of school, we got to leave school and go home, which was also flooded, for the record. My home was also flooded.
My home was not flooded because it's on top of a hill. And plus, we have good drainage in our neighborhood, apparently.
Brag about it.
We didn't in mine at the time. Different neighborhood than I live in now, but...
I was going to say, you were also on top of a hill, but... Yes,
no, I'm different. I was in a different neighborhood at the time, and my basement had like 4 feet of water in it.
So speaking of something that came out around that time would have been the last time Jonathan Frakes.
Oh, shit. Yeah, sorry, before we get on to that was a great segue. I'm sorry I fucked it up.
We should also, if we're going to talk about Star Wars at some point, if that's still a thing.
There's no way that's going to happen.
That was a joke,
we
Aaron,
should
as
do
I said
it
multiple
now.
times.
We're like 50 minutes into a podcast, there's no way we're talking about Star Wars now.
Yeah, I'd say we should start now if we're doing it.
And plus, if we do, I'm Andrew's, like, I don't want to listen to representative here.
I don't listen to Andrew's fucking... I've already read all that on fucking the chat.
Best Star Wars movie ever? Yes, I agree, okay.
All right, so what's this other thing from...
So I just wanted to say, I think it's funny,
Tony Town.
NVIDIA, who's not really known... NVIDIA is known for video cards, right? There's no way around it. And for making you log in to download driver updates. You can log in with WeChat, which sounds like a great idea.
What?
You can log into NVIDIA with WeChat, with your WeChat credentials.
Like the Nintendo Wii?
No, fuck no. What like the Chinese chat. Chat client WeChat.
I've never
heard I also thought Nintendo.
It's really famous.
Is it?
You can do everything on WeChat. You can, like, give people money and shit.
Wow.
It's do everything in China on WeChat, right?
Is it like the Chinese version of Facebook?
Even bigger.
Oh. Take that, Mark Zuckerberg.
There's a lot of discussions as to, well,
you failure, you piece of shit.
Is the sequel called WeChat U?
To be fair, it might be a little difficult for Mark Zuckerberg to do, like, compete with Chinese things in China.
Nah, he's shit producer, and I hate him.
What a racist.
But NVIDIA also...
Do a better job.
They're making it's not a TV, but it's a fucking TV. Like, it's officially not, they can't call it a TV because you need certain requirements to be a TV. It's a motherfucking TV. It's 65 inches large. It's a 65-inch 4K 120 hertz monitor.
Holy fuck.
Who the fuck is buying this?
Is that it? Jesus.
Aaron, how big is the TV we're looking at right now?
I thought it was 2018, Rory. I'm sorry. That's it.
Aaron, what is this?
That's a 42 inch.
Is this what?
That's a 42 inch.
I would have said 38, but that all right. This is a 42 inch TV.
Jesus, that's massive. The biggest TV I've ever seen was, and it's really funny because the guy I used to work at Future Shop, which is the Canadian version of Best Buy, which then became Best Buy because they bought out Future Shop.
For which, also knowing there was Best Buy and Future Shop at one point simultaneously.
Yeah.
Across the street.
Across the street. Future Shop goes, city planning. What's that? And yet, fucking the other side of town has no tech stores.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
God, this city sucks sometimes. So I worked there, and a guy came in and was like, "Hey, do you have my order?" I'm like, well, let me check. What's your name? And he gave me his name. And I was like, yeah, let me check. It was not up here. Let me check in the back. We did have his order. It was a 90-inch screen. And I'm like, holy shit. So we had to get the forklift out from the back of the store to bring it up to the front. And he and his brother were like, do you want us to bring this up to the truck? He was like, nah, we got it. And we're like, I don't think you do. But they did get it. And I don't think he really understood how big his TV was going to be because it didn't really fit in his truck.
Anyway, it fell out on the way home and broke it.
I hope so. But then literally a month later, after he bought that thing, they started announcing 4K TVs.
Oh. Wait a minute. A 90-inch 1080 TV?
Yeah.
Seriously?
It looks great, Aaron.
With pixels this big on it.
It might have been 80 inches. I can't remember if it was exactly 90, but it was significantly larger than 64 inches.
Because let's face it, NVIDIA's calling this a monitor.
Is this the one that's curved?
No,
slightly.
It doesn't look that curved to me. It should be at that size, but I don't think it is. I
saw one that was very curved.
This didn't look curved to me. It should be curved. If it's that big, it should be curved. But also,
what desk is that fitting on?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's why, like, they have to call it a monitor, but it's not a fucking monitor. And anybody using this as a monitor is a douchebag.
I would mount it on a wall above Aaron's two monitors there, and just have that displaying maps.
Oh man, that exploded.
So yeah, that was basically all from CES. Now to revisit
Jonathan Frakes.
So Jonathan Frakes is like
best known for Commander Riker on Star Trek.
Yeah, on Star Trek. Yeah,
although he also played the villain Xanatar on Gargoyles, Disney's Gargoyles.
Yes,
which was kind of a Next Generation reunion because Brent Spiner and I forget the woman who played Deanna Troi.
Marina Sirtis.
Yeah, she was also on that show. All three of them were.
Brent Spiner is a great voice, actually.
And I think Michael Dorn had a cameo.
Oh, I like Michael Dorn. Oftentimes when you have these shows like Star Trek and Buffy and lots of other shows like this.
Okay, keep going.
Like big fan shows. Sometimes the actors who are on them try to sort of distance themselves from the role and, don't really interact actively with the fan community. Well, Jonathan Frakes is the opposite of that. He's really embraced Star Trek, and he's really embraced the Star Trek fandom.
It's kind of like Anthony Daniels, really.
And
who played C-3PO.
Yes. And one of my favorite, and one of the things about Jonathan Frakes is that he understands Star Trek very well, and he understands what the fans like about Star Trek, and he's directed some truly phenomenal Star Trek films. In fact, he wanted to direct Nemesis. They didn't let him, and, well, we all watched it.
He directed, in my opinion, the best Next Generation movie and the second best Star Trek movie, in my opinion, which was First Contact.
Okay, yeah, I was sitting down trying to figure out which one it was.
First Contact is a fucking amazing movie.
That is a brilliant movie, and I think it's the consensus best.
Yeah.
I might prefer Insurrection, to be honest.
All right.
First movie. Contact is a better movie. Insurrection, in my opinion, is a better extended episode of The Next Generation.
Did he also do Best of Both Worlds?
I don't know. I should know, but I don't. But suffice to say that my complaint, and we're all tired of hearing it, including me, was when J.J. Abrams was doing Star Trek. I was furious because every time they did a new movie, and by J.J. Abrams, I of course mean the general crew of J.J. Abrams. I quite like 2009 Star Trek, but the recurring thing about Star Trek that's happened in the last 2 movies is no one making this movie, seemingly, really has a good grasp on Star Trek. And Jonathan Frakes has a really good grasp on old school Star Trek. So I was over the moon a few months ago when I heard that he was directing episode 10 of Star Trek Discovery.
By the way, apparently the number one asked question on Google when Jonathan Frakes comes up is, can he actually play the trombone? And what's the answer? Yeah, so apparently he can play a little bit.
Oh, cool. So you have to be a pretty hardcore fan to even understand why that's relevant. But so Star Trek Discovery is the new Star Trek TV series, which I quite like. It's not perfect. There are things I would change, but broadly I really like it. And so I found out he was directing an episode, and I was fucking thrilled.
And keep in mind, this is the episode after the winter break, so this is kind of like the next big
That's right. They did a mid-season break, and they ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, they're in the Mirror Universe now, I think?
Yeah, spoiler alert.
It was a dog shit episode, right?
Yeah, massive spoiler there. But, and
Whoops.
So he directed the new episode. I've seen it. It's fucking amazing. It's a great episode. It's the best directed episode of the whole series. There's some memorable scenes in this that I'm not going to forget. Like, just expertly done.
Apparently he also did an episode of Orville.
He's done scattered episodes of TVs. I think he may have done a couple episodes of Blacklist. I could be wrong.
I'm not seeing it here. He did a couple episodes of Powers.
That was what I was thinking of. Yes, yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I want to see what other episodes of The Next Generation he did.
What episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did he do?
He did...
Click on them to get the season number.
Yeah, I can't find... Apparently he did a couple episodes of Castle, too.
Yeah,
that's true. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He did one episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Go away, IMDb. No.
Never mind.
No. Come back to me.
The IMDb's mobile site is fucking garbage in Adam's defense.
It's fucking dog shit.
So he's great, and the episode was great. And what I really liked about it was, and I think Star Trek Discovery has a lot of trappings of old school Star Trek, but what I liked about it is he didn't just make an old school Star Trek episode. He made an episode which fit the tune of Discovery. Like, it felt like a really good episode of Discovery, which shows that, like, he's like such a chameleon, right? He looks into something and he can understand what makes it good. And it's a fucking crime against humanity that he's not directing Star Trek movies right now.
Yes.
Like feature-length Star Trek movies. It's one of just like it drives me nuts every time I get physically like angry when I think about it. But anyways, it was really good.
Why don't you just direct him, Rory?
Really though, no man, they got to get Quentin Tarantino. He's got to get the N-word in Star Trek.
Apparently he directed the 2004 version of Thunderbirds, which was fucking awful.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
Awful. Okay, so he did The Offspring, which was one of the best episodes. The Reunion, Drumhead, Cause and Effect, Corley Line the Chase, Attached, and Sub Rosa. Did a couple episodes of Deep Space Nine and Voyager. I'll look up the one he did for fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
We need a synopsis as well.
The Well, which is a 2013 episode. It's the first season.
Oh, okay.
Finding out it was a first season episode. Basically, it was a question of what season did he direct an episode.
I was like,
in.
Did he do the last half of the most recent season? Because that would have been awesome.
Because
it was awesome.
Snowpiercer is a 2013 film starring Chris Evans.
It's the one where they find those berserker gauntlet things and fucking Ford goes crazy or whatever in the first season.
Yeah, nope, that was a couple years ago. I don't remember that.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, he's great. Love Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, amazing. A really great guy too.
Yeah.
Riker is my favorite Star Trek character.
Sex with him all
I prefer Data, but Riker's like
that. Fair play.
It's like he's right up there.
Yeah.
I like Riker and Data together.
Sure. Yeah. So.
God, I miss Next Generation.
Yeah, I know, right? Me too.
I mean, I have it all on DVD. Because
yeah.
Fucking Netflix keeps taking it the fuck off.
I've seen it so many times. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I still love it.
Yeah.
But Crave has all the Star Treks, including Enterprise.
Yeah, but are they going to have those forever?
Probably. Crave does a good job.
Aaron, can you go up to the wall?
Turn
around. Go back to that wall that you were just at.
This?
No, right? Yeah. Can you look at the device to your right?
The alarm?
Yeah. Okay, that's an older device. I think that's a Honeywell device that they're using there.
Oh, man.
All right.
Good,
because they're garbage.
So, Snowpiercer is a movie. You may or may not have seen... Statistically, you probably didn't see it.
Yeah. It was all right.
I love it. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I've realized that I just agreed with Adam and then said something kind of completely different than what he said.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but
I agree.
You seem
Hitler
to
was
love
right.
it. But
I don't think you liked it as much as I did.
No, I wouldn't watch it again, but I didn't mind watching it the first time.
Yeah. And they're gonna make a TV series. It just got greenlit, actually.
Why? Out of all of the properties,
Good question.
Fucking Gallivant gets 2 C's. You're making a fucking TV show out of this garbage.
But to be sure, I'm surprised because I didn't think it had gained the following. But then again, they made Fargo, and Fargo's a great movie, but I didn't think it had enough. I didn't think it was the one they were gonna choose to make. You know what I mean? So I think it's interesting they make a Snowpiercer TV series. I'm gonna watch the shit out of it.
By the way, my favorite part of Snowpiercer is when they see the train from the new Metro game going the other way. They're like, "Help us! There's bears and whatever."
There's bears. Yeah, so I would recommend you at least watch Snowpiercer, whether you like it or not. I know me and Andrew are big fans, and I knew that before Andrew told me, just because I watched that movie. I can always tell the movies me and Andrew are gonna like.
Does it have action-y stuff in it? Does stuff happen in it?
Gets killed horribly.
Does stuff happen in it?
Yeah, it's not, yeah.
Is it like Locke where nothing happens, or does stuff happen in it?
No, stuff happens actively in this movie. Aaron's making kind of a point about the movies I like.
It's like, oh, Snowpiercer's good. I'll watch Locke. I watch Locke. I'm like, oh, it's over.
I will agree with Aaron that nothing happens in that movie, but I'll also agree with
I thought
Aaron
he was like, at the end of that
point.
movie, they're going to get to the hospital and go in there and do a Matrix, dual wheel, shoot the place up. But nope, it just ends.
This is a trend with movies I like. But in my defense, I also recommended Ex Machina, and that, not a lot happens in that, but it's still really good.
Well, stuff does happen in that, though.
By the way, can we all go see he's got a new movie coming out this year, doesn't he?
Annihilation.
Yeah, I want to go see that.
Yeah. See, Rory, it doesn't need to be an action movie. That's, I guess, maybe the wrong word. It doesn't need to be an action movie, but it needs to have
substance.
It needs to have substance for sure. I think Ex Machina is more of a thriller.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Stuff happens, but it's kind of more character
Locke didn't
driven.
excite you.
You didn't like the hour-long conversation about concrete?
That's a great movie.
I'm agreeing with you. I really like that fucking movie.
In terms of a concept,
I can understand why Aaron doesn't.
In terms of a concept, Locke worked very well.
By the way,
it's not a good movie.
I like how you know Aaron and everything about Aaron. You were like, I bet he'll like Locke.
Well, what it was, I'll never forget. It was one of our very early It was our first podcast, was it not? Our year in review.
Yeah.
And I said at the end, and my number one movie of the year is Locke. And Aaron
was it really?
Aaron goes, I've never even heard of it. And at the end, I think he goes, yeah, I'll check it out. And he did, to his credit. If Aaron says he's gonna watch something, he's gonna fucking watch it.
Well, it was 2 years later, but I watched it.
Yeah, you did watch it. Yeah, and
Aaron,
then
you watch Gallivant?
No. Well, I saw some of it, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah,
it's good though. Gallivant is good.
I'm not watching musicals. If it's a musical, fuck off.
They're definitely totally comparable shows.
Did you say it's like Game of Thrones?
But better.
If it was ruined with music.
No.
It's unrelated to Game of Thrones, don't worry.
If it's a musical, it is automatically garbage.
The acting is better.
It's automatically garbage.
The acting is better.
There was a musical episode of Buffy. I sat down. I remember that night vividly, and I guess more to its credit. But I remember that night, I sat down with a beer and chips, and I was like, I'm going to watch some Buffy. And I watched the fucking Once More with Feeling episode or whatever it was, where it's a musical, and I'm like...
You know what the big problem is with that episode?
It was a good episode, but it's a fucking musical.
Well, the big problem is, now when I bring up season 6, Jordan defends it because of that one episode. His season is fucking garbage, and it has one episode that Jordan likes, so therefore it's good.
Not a good season.
Speaking of musicals, I went to see Greatest Showman on Wednesday.
Oh, Jordan loved the shit out of it.
I'm sure he does.
I can see why he would. I liked it a lot. I just want to talk about it very briefly. In terms of a musical, it was very good. In terms of an accurate historical representation, it was not, because they leave out
musicals
a lot
never
of stuff.
Are.
What?
Musicals are never accurate.
No, and that's the point. Like, I'm not saying I wasn't going in and being like, this is gonna be the most factually accurate thing about fucking whatever the fuck his name is, the Bertram or whatever.
I don't even know what the fuck it's about. Bertram? Who the fuck is that?
It's about the guy who created kind of the first freak show in America. And he was this really big kind of entertainer. Like, step right up, ladies and gentlemen, for the greatest spectacle the world has ever seen. We have boys born in the Amazon who are hot dog. We have bearded ladies. We have, like that kind of thing. Uh-huh. And the movie apparently was Hugh Jackman's passion project that he wanted to get off the ground, but he couldn't do because he kept playing Wolverine. And it's
Which,
good.
To be fair, he decided to do.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do this thing because I keep doing this other thing.
He wanted to stop playing Wolverine at some point.
And fucking stop.
And he did. That's why he wrote a movie about it.
Yeah, like 7 movies in.
Anyway, so he's, the movie's about, Hugh Jackman plays this guy, and it's all about his life, and it's very romanticized, but it's a musical, so of course it's going to be. The plot is pretty bog standard. You know exactly what's going to happen going in.
Oh, Barnum. P.T. Barnum?
P.T. Barnum. Yeah, I don't know what. Rory, I had 4 hours of sleep. Names are not coming to me anymore. So anyway, the music is great. It's really great musical numbers. There's nothing I hate it, and there was a few really standout ones. Like, these are good. I like these.
Yeah, the music better have been good. Some music.
The dances are very good, except they get one dance kind of phones it in, but because a woman sings an opera piece. It's not an opera, but she's like an opera singer or whatever. Yeah. And she phones it in because she's just kind of standing there. But they kind of makes it. But that's kind of the point. You can't really have her twirling around because it wouldn't make sense in the context of the film. Most of the other ones have really great dance routines. There's a really great one that Zac Efron and I forget the woman. There's like a black girl who plays a trapeze artist do, and they're in the air singing. That was really good. And Zac Efron and Hugh Jackman do a really good one in a bar. That's probably one of the best musical numbers I've ever seen in terms of dance choreography.
Russell Crowe's not even in this.
No. And I'm Javi.
Fuck this. This is bullshit.
Hang on. I know the president thinks someone. Do you remember? Fucking goddamn, Russell Crowe, try. Put some effort into it, for fuck's sake.
It sounds like he's trying, but trying to do something else other than singing.
Anyway, Hugh Jackman does a really
good job. Paycheck and go to fuck home out of it.
Hugh Jackman does a really good job in this movie. Zac Efron does a really good job. It's good. If you like musicals, go see this. If you don't like musicals, stay away.
Fair enough.
Is my
musical is how to turn genuine tragedy into a pretentious jizz blast of fucking nonsense.
Oh man, you want to talk about and turn something to a jizz blast? Just get fucking Aaron Bishop on the conversation train. Being like, I think that I think the people of Hiroshima should have got bombed to shit because I don't know.
Let's make a musical out of it and have everybody dance when they explode.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Wouldn't that be a fucking great spectacle?
Oh man, it'd be so awesome.
That'd be a great fucking spectacle. Can you imagine a bunch of people flaming dancing down the street?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Awesome. I love people who talk, by the way, I've never been to America because I don't want to go, but, No,
look at it.
Did you say to me once you wanted to live in California?
Look what New York looks like.
I want to work in California for the necessity of the things they're doing there, because it's irreplaceable elsewhere, but I don't want to actually live in America because I don't like it.
Fair enough.
But, I'm not objecting to the people. Never mind. Anyways, the
culture's wank.
To
borrow an Aaronism.
But there's
I don't say wank.
There's this thing that people who've been to Broadway shows say, right? And they always talk about like the effects and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because they have quite a lot of practical effects and they're supposed to be quite good. Like the costume design, they design all sorts of elaborate things. There's like a Lord of the Rings musical, right? Oh, and there's like Spider-Man and all sorts of shit.
Lord of the Rings basically was a musical. Right?
Well, like watching
the level of comedy and nonsense it had in it.
I don't give a shit how far practical effects and costuming have gone. There is no way that fucking like those birds and shit flying around in Lord of the Rings look anything like good. Look anything resembling something you'd call good on a stage. Fucking Witch King of Angmar flying around on that goddamn thing.
Agmar. An Angmar.
Oh yeah,
Angmar.
Jesus, yeah. The like that doesn't look good. There's no way. I don't give a shit. Anyways, that's just my own personal beef with musicals. I'm glad you saw that movie so we could have someone like mention about it, because Jordan mentioned it was good, but I didn't know whether it was or not.
Yeah, but Jordan also thinks that the new fucking Nickelback album is good. He said to me, Adam, you like Metallica, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you're probably gonna like this new Nickelback album. It's just like Metallica.
Would getting my money stolen by Chad Kroeger again.
He complains so often that he's stealing his money, and he gives him money by listening to his fucking album.
Jordan was the guy. Jordan was like, well, one of the guys from One Direction has a solo album. I was like, okay, and he was like, you should listen to it because you like David Bowie. It's just like David Bowie. I still haven't listened to it, but let me tell you, it's not a fucking thing like David Bowie. Yeah. But anyways,
all right. Well, let me do some backpedaling here.
Are you finally going to make Galvant as good?
No, I respect musical talent.
Oh, me too.
And all, in theater and the ability to put all that together and have it be a big, like, fantastical presentation and whatever. Don't tell stories like that. Like, if you're going to make a movie, just make a fucking movie.
See, I don't object to that. I just don't think they could possibly look like real life on stage.
It makes more sense to make a musical out of this than would be Hiroshima, because at least in this you're talking about a showman in a circus where there's music and everybody, everybody's over the top anyway. But if you're not like, I agree with you, man. There are some things that would not make a good musical, like Game of Thrones would make a terrible musical. And I know I just said Galvant was better. That was being fucking funny. I'm being serious now.
Well, I'm more pointing out that you said it was like Game of Thrones. Yeah. So anyway.
But I
can find musicals good. I like some musicals.
The Wire would be a terrible musical.
The Wire would be a garbage musical.
Although really fun. Actually, you could do like a really cool hip hop thing with The Wire. But don't do that.
I don't think I could stomach that. To be honest, I love hip hop and The Wire. I'm
not gonna knock anything till you try, but there's just some things that you're gonna have to really convince me.
I want to talk about Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Okay, good. So do I. Holy shit! You scared the shit out of that dog.
So. Dragon Ball FighterZ's final file size is less than 5 gigs. Someone here explained to me what the fuck kind of programming wizardry and compression they did to get that shit less than 5 gigs. Tekken 7's like 70 gigs.
I'll tell you.
I guess this one game's better because it requires less stuff.
Every character is the same character model, except they changed the hair.
It's not, though, because some of them have tails.
What in the world? Frieza has a tail, he's right.
They added a tail and made him purple with
also
the hue
Lord
slider.
Beerus has a tail.
So, here's the thing.
Who's maintaining that fucking martial laws in effect? Obviously, martial laws in effect. There's people running around the streets with guns.
It's very amazing to me that they got this under 5 gigs. I'm very impressed. I'm assuming all this audio is compressed to hell. You don't even hear the audio. It's binary on the screen. It scrolls by, right? It's like subtitled music, right?
Is that electronic streaking that goes on in that fucking CHMR news station?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, with the giant like cardboard whale instruments. Yeah. So how they got this list? I don't know how they did it. That's impressive. Another thing is the beta. Adam, is the 11th. Is that right?
Yes. So there's going to be a closed beta for those who pre-order the game coming out on the 8th, I believe, and a open beta on the 15th or on the 11th. Sorry, fuck. I think there's going to be something like 10 playable characters, including Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, Frieza, Nappa, Yamcha, Piccolo. I think there's a couple others in there, like bigger names. So you're not going to be seeing like more obscure characters like Beerus or some of the Ginyu Force, who I'm not in, or whoever. We're gonna see a lot of big names from the franchise. Yeah. From everything I've read about this, the gaming world, especially the fighting world, is very excited for this thing because it seems like everyone's like, this might be one of the better fighting games to come out.
It's the same. Like the thing is, BlazBlue is really good. It's the people who make BlazBlue, but the thing is, BlazBlue is also something that most people don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
To be honest, Dragon Ball is something a lot of people give a shit about.
Yeah. the third highest grossing manga ever or the third most popular manga in Japan, and I think the most popular anime in North
forget
America.
about it in North America. I mean, it's huge, right? Like, especially relative to the others, right? Where you're at, like, most people were at a 0 with anime, and then they all of a sudden go up to an 80 with Dragon Ball, and so that's a big deal. And so there's gonna be a lot of nostalgia. The game looks good, but I think the big thing about this game, I wish I could credit the player who tweeted about this, but he's 100% right. This game is gonna have really bad retention on people picking it up and continuing to play it, because fighting games are hard, no matter what they are. And the thing is about fighting games, Eris said this really well. He said, the thing about fighting games is you don't get immediate reward. You could practice for 2 hours, and all you've learned is a new combo that only works on 3 characters, and it only works in this stage, or something. It's like the rewards are distant.
Kamehameha works on everybody except when it doesn't.
If you play any other game in the world for 3 hours, you, like, level up, or you get a new gun,
or you beat it in the case of a lot of Call of Duty.
Or you beat it in the case of Call of Duty and a lot of indie games. Or
thank you for repeating what I just said.
You get a new, I don't know, access to something. You get a new weapon for Dante. You get something. Like
obscure Devil May Cry reference out of worry.
I love when I'm playing The Division and I get a new weapon for Dante.
Fucking ebony and ivory.
So, no, it's not just. And now, they drew like
Sounds like
fucking
they don't want
pastel
you to join
Dantes in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite now. I mean, pastel everybody. What? Hey, you remember how Chun-Li looked terrible like 1,000 years ago? Well, she looks just like that now.
I can't. And Fighter Z looks good.
Fighter Z looks good, and it
looks just like Akira Toriyama could have drawn it.
People are gonna. Everyone's gonna buy it, right? And people are gonna love it for a little while.
Here's my estimation. Jordan's gonna buy it. Says he likes it for about an hour, and then we're gonna be like, "Hey, Jordan, you liking Fighter Z? Yeah, best game ever." And then week later, we're gonna be, "Hey, Jordan, you still play Fighter Z? Nah, garbage."
You're gonna go online. Here's what's gonna happen. You're going online, and you're gonna face a guy who knows how to play BlazBlue, and he's gonna kick your ass. It's gonna be awful. You won't be able to win games.
Or if I remember correctly, you know how to play BlazBlue, and who won the fight between you and me? Was it you?
I don't know how to play BlazBlue. Right. I have played BlazBlue, but I don't know the characters.
Right.
Back
to the BlazBlue master over here, where I think I know a little bit more about BlazBlue than you do.
Yeah, probably actually.
That was a lie.
We've all watched the story now. So I think this game is everyone's gonna play it, and then we're gonna watch the Steam charts as they do, and we're gonna watch the player base drop off hugely. And the only people who are gonna continue to play it are the people who are playing fighting games anyways. No one wants to play fighting games; they're too hard.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Can I very quickly? I don't know if it's on the list. I'm very nervous about the future Star Wars because apparently, from what I've heard, the new Han Solo movie is dog shit.
Has anyone seen it?
Apparently, according to some Disney executives, they thought that the reception for Episode 8 was going to be... They were worried about the reception for Han Solo.
Is this based on what I said, or are you...
That's based off what you said. Is this not true?
No, that's what I heard. I just wasn't sure if you
reiterate it to me because I have no idea what you guys.
So apparently, according to Aaron, he told me that
from various sources I've seen online
that Disney was not thinking that the reception of the Han Solo movie was going to be okay at best. Okay. They were expecting universal praise for Episode 8, and they did not receive.
To be fair, critically they got universal praise.
Yes, but they were expecting universal praise from the fans.
Yeah, well, that didn't happen.
No, and now
don't expect that for a Star Wars movie.
And now they're thinking, "Oh shit, what's going on with this? What are we going to do with this Han Solo movie?"
I think 7 was pretty okay received.
There were a lot of fans brigaded around that one though, because it was, quote, just a rehash, which, as Adam points out and he's correct about, it was a good move.
But it's entirely the point.
I did see some of that, but it almost seems like everyone I asked about it in retrospect, they said, "Well, yeah, 7 was pretty good."
Well, to be fair, most people
it was a rehash, but it was good.
I mean, I agree, but most people, in my experience, aren't even most people I talk to really love The Last Jedi, right? I think most people in general that we'll talk to in the case of Star Wars are gonna agree, and this doesn't happen often, but are gonna agree with the critics more than with the fans, because that doesn't usually occur.
Apparently, they also had to bring in an acting coach for the guy who plays Han Solo, and that's not.
To be fair, they might have. For all we know, they brought in that acting coach because the director wanted something very specific, or it was like a voice thing or something.
No, they said the guy can't act.
Oh, well, that's not good.
Yeah.
Maybe here, if I'm Disney and I have this franchise, is that another dog?
That's an otter.
Yep.
If I was Disney and there was and I was worried about, because like Disney, say what you will about Disney, they are probably, aside from Nintendo, the most protective company when it comes to protecting their own IP. I don't think any other company is better at protecting their own IP than Disney. You know, they're really protective about the stuff that they control. They tend not to give the reins out to just anybody. You know what I mean? They're not like Warner Brothers, which will kind of, let a lot of people, like with the DC license, they'll let a lot of people have access to that.
Which I would say, I think in a lot of cases is actually
better. But what I'm saying is, if I'm Disney and I'm just worried about how people perceive this big franchise that I own, that a lot of money is being put into, I would consider not releasing this movie at all and reworking the whole thing until it's good. Because I'd rather produce a good movie and have it come out in a year or so time than produce a shit movie and have it ruin people's perception of how I'm handling this franchise.
Yeah, it is a bit weird that it comes out in May. I don't think most people know that. And we haven't seen any teasers, any trailers, very little cast or set photos.
Yeah.
No merchandise, like nothing.
Yeah. And it's like, by this time last year, not by this time last year, but by like March last year, we'd already had one trailer for the Force.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to assume that they refrained from a lot of that stuff to not sort of muddy the water a bit for The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, kind of wait until that's out and everyone's seen it and then release a trailer, which you
would think would be around now. But I'm wondering why they're doing this at all. You think they would just, keep with the trend and have...
Yeah.
Han Solo come out in December or like late November, as the other Star Wars movies have done, and have Avengers come out in May. Now, maybe Avengers wasn't ready for May, which is fine. Don't release it if it's not ready, because it's Avengers, and I don't want you to fuck it up. But you know what I mean? Like, it just seems weird that it's I don't know.
I can only assume they have a schedule to keep. They have actors for a certain amount of time. It's not. I don't think it's so easy to just say, well, we'll just take another year and work on it. It's like there's money involved. There's people that are needed elsewhere on other projects, and people have schedules to conform to, and that
especially
sort of thing.
Now after the Fox purchase.
Yeah, and particularly with Star Wars, it's like it's a big property. Obviously, everyone wants it to be good. That's I think why Disney bought it in the first place. They want to make more good movies, but at this rate, I guess it's just like we have to put it out and see what happens. We can't just keep nursing it.
There's also, it could come out and there's no problem, right?
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the first time. Everyone panicked on Star Trek Discovery when Brian Fuller, TV god Brian Fuller, who was a lot of the reason people were excited about the show, walked away and said, I don't want to do this project anymore. Everyone thought, oh, is it suck? Is it terrible? And no, there's no problem with Discovery, it turns out at all. It's not what Brian Fuller wants, but that's okay. Did I say it isn't suck?
You said is it suck?
Oh, well, it turns out it isn't suck, which is good.
Yeah, and I guess they haven't explicitly stated that the movie is not good. They just said they're expecting it to bomb. So
that's great, though.
It's not promising, but at the same time, it's like...
Remember when Peter Jackson was like, do you got high hopes for Return of the King? Nah. It's probably going to not do well.
It's a shame, because Peter Jackson could get taken down a few rungs.
Yes, he could, because really he's done Lord of the Rings.
He's done 3 good movies.
Yes.
The
King Kong wasn't too bad, I guess.
King Kong was all right. The Omen was not.
Did he do The Omen?
He did The Omen, as I recall,
I forgot
which was not good, and I was only 11 when I saw it, and I knew it was bad.
I think the idea is, though, that they don't know what the fans will think of it. Because The Last Jedi was very split down the middle, and they maybe thought it was good.
Yeah.
For the most part, they have no idea where the Han Solo movie is going to end up, because
fair enough, because you shouldn't go into a project seeking to piss off the fans, but you shouldn't be going into a project specifically to please fans, in my opinion, because you're never going to do that.
Well, it depends
fans are
on
awful.
what kind of project you're making. For instance, Riddick. I'm not talking about the movie Riddick. I'm talking about the franchise Riddick.
Yeah.
including the movies, is only made for Riddick fans. And no one working on that project gives a shit about anybody who isn't a fan of Riddick, right? It's full of stuff you couldn't possibly understand if you haven't seen the other movies. That's who they make it for. And they know it's not going to do crazy big numbers, right? I would actually like to see Disney do a project like that. Now, that's probably not the kind of project they want to do. No. To be honest, because that's not their MO. But if Solo ended up being like that, I think that'd be pretty fucking cool.
I think Rogue One was close.
Like, Rogue One is probably the closest they've ever done.
I'm kind of amazed that Rogue One was made, because it's very Star Wars-y. It's kind of a unique tale. It doesn't have Death Star or Jedi. I mean, well, it's got the Death Star, but it doesn't have, like, that whole...
I know what you mean.
The whole dynamic of this big super weapon and
Plus, it doesn't follow the traditional Star Wars story, and it doesn't even follow like Campbell's.
And it's very old school journey. Star Wars style, and it's got a lot of great Star Wars action in it. It seems like it was made for the fans, and that pretty much was it.
Now, to be fair, if you're gonna make a thing for the fans, expect a high return. Star Wars is it. Like if you're, they got probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, fan base.
And I would say of the three movies, Rogue One was probably the most universally accepted. Yeah, I can't recall ever hearing much negativity about it.
It's the most accepted from non-Star Wars fans that I've heard.
The only person I seem to remember who didn't like the film was Jenny Nicholson, who she has her reasons, and I respect them. I just don't think she's right.
Yeah, and Star Wars is fickle like that, because for the most part, I mean, even with The Last Jedi and Rogue One, they're two very different movies. They cater to different parts of Star Wars, and people still have complaints about both sides. So it's like, it's not Star Wars enough. It's too Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
what
exactly right.
What do you want?
Well, that'll happen, and it's good.
Go back to old planets. Go to new planets.
Like
stop having super weapons. Why is there no super weapon?
Like there'll always be kind of an element of that for sure. Which is one of the things I like about hearing different people review things, like hearing like old school fans and new fans. I was kind of hoping there'd be a segue there, staring me in the face somehow, like what Adam and Andrew seem to be able to do. More so Adam, let's be real.
Rory, speaking of Star Wars planets...
Elite Dangerous, Chapter 1 open...
this was like going to be at the very end if we had time to fill, which we don't because we're already at about an hour and a half. But the third season of Elite is going into beta on the 25th. Not the third season, but the first update for the third season.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Anything new with the Thargoids?
In that update or since?
In the update.
Yep, there'll be new. They kind of they released a little bit of a teaser today of the Thargoid Scouts. Basically the really tiny ships that we've already seen crashed around on different planets will be in that update.
Oh, it's Animo.
So
that's kind of neat.
We can probably breeze through the rest of these.
We have two very quickly related topics that are both about controllers. They're bringing back what is often
speaking of Hoth.
They're bringing back what's often called the Duke, which I have always called the Ham.
Yeah, it's the big Xbox. The first Xbox's Xbox OG's original controller.
Yeah, which was awful.
Shit. It was awful.
Big piece of shit.
Andrew's the only one who likes it. No, it's not.
It's okay.
No, it's not.
Here's the thing.
It's almost as bad as the N64
Rory has baby hands.
I have baby hands, and so the DualShock 3 is the perfect fit for my hands.
Oh my god, it's the worst controller since the Duke.
So for me, the Duke is
I have a Duke there.
Is a nightmare because like my baby hands can't grab the damn
just grow
thing.
up, Rory.
I mean, I have big hands, and even though I find the Duke, it's just too fucking fat and like fucking awful.
I mean,
in every capacity.
even this controller here, like the Elite controller, you can see my fingers basically wrapping around it. Even this controller could be a little bit bigger for me, honestly. But for the most part, I think this is a good size.
Yeah, put that in my hands. Watch me struggle to reach
the
both
Duke
analog
isn't
sticks.
that much bigger than this.
But like, I mean, the Xbox One controller is like the most perfect controller.
Yeah, it's great. It's good. The first ones that came out were garbage, but the newer ones are good.
Mm-hmm.
D-pad's in the wrong place.
No.
No, it's perfect.
Good luck pressing that rapidly, reaching over.
What are you talking about?
I can't do that, Aaron.
Yeah, look, look at this. If I have, look, my thumbs overlap in the center if I hold it tightly.
You're getting flamethrower.
Like I'm literally the middle of my thought. God, stop trying to kill me. I'm doing.
See how bad Xbox controllers are? You get set on fire if you pick one up.
If you stop paying attention.
If I hold the controller coming out.
If I held an Xbox One controller tightly, the middle of my thumb is over the D-pad.
So the most hilariously inconsistent company ever, which
we should announce that the Duke is coming out for the PC.
Yeah.
So okay.
So if you want to use that on a PC because you're a crazy person, you can do that now. So there's never been a company that, to my knowledge, that makes like one product really well and one product really poorly more consistently than Mad Catz.
They were talking about Batman.
Because, ouch. If you've ever played a Mad Catz controller, you probably hate Mad Catz.
Oh, they're dog shit.
Yeah. But if you're a fighting game player, you love Mad Catz fight sticks because they're amazing.
So is Logitech just bringing the brand name back? Because Logitech owns Mad Catz.
Yes, but somehow the Mad Catz division declared bankruptcy. I don't know how you can do that, but you can. Like, Mad Catz itself declared bankruptcy, like, at the end of last year, and now they're back somehow.
Yeah, I know, because I was going to buy the X52 Pro. They make a HOTAS. Basically, it's a flight stick, not a fight stick.
Are they good?
Yeah, but...
Okay, so only their obscure shit is good.
Well, it's a good stick. The quality is generally garbage.
Oh, okay.
So, the reception generally is like, oh, man, it fell apart after a couple months, or the spring is broken, or the light doesn't work. Or
Razor syndrome.
Some weird random garbage that just doesn't work on it. As soon as Logitech bought them out and re-released the X52 Pro, I'm like, I'm buying it. Because it's a great stick. It's just generally hampered by feces build quality.
Sure, yeah.
And I don't know that it's actually that much different. I had an issue with the first one that I had where a light didn't work, so I got it replaced thanks to Amazon's awesome return policy. Where
that sounded sarcastic, but I don't think it was.
No, it is actually really good because I said I have a problem with it. They sent me another one, and then they said you have like 90 days to send back the one that's broken. Like, generally, it's here's a box, put it in a box, and go without for 6 months while we send you the new one. And then that one's worked ever since. I've had it for over a year now.
To be fair, I mean, when you're dealing with a company that transports such a large bulk of products across the globe, I think the only thing that could actually outship, like in terms of bulk product, the Amazon is the Amazon fucking river in terms of how much stuff it moves.
So Mad Catz, the first new product I've seen from them is they're making this mouse, and it's a wireless mouse. Mm-hmm. But instead of having to charge it, you don't have to worry, because the mouse pad it sits on charges it just by being there. If your mouse is on the mouse pad, it's charging. So that's an interesting idea, and could be cool.
It's a great idea. It won't work.
It's great. Oh, it'll work. It's just you need a lot of... If the picture I saw was to scale, this mouse pad is fuck off gigantic. It's the biggest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. You land in helicopters and all kinds of shit on it. Charge your Tesla.
It's like... I don't know. Jeremy Clarkson would be going on about it if Mad Catz was a car company, because they have awesome ideas for shit. They just execute them super poorly.
And let's face it, most ordinary people don't give a shit about fight sticks. You know what I mean? So if you make great fight sticks, I'm gonna look for this.
Generally, I feel like a lot of fight sticks look like they come in cereal boxes or something.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, where's your large ass?
Like one of those stupid ass plug and play things.
So
I can't find it, but it's massive. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Just watch one of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Probably
I think
wrap
they take
up
a plane
soon.
off of it. That's pretty much it.
Well, I got two very quick things.
Adam's got two things.
First is Studio Trigger, which is a Japanese anime production company and studio, who have done some of my more favorite anime ever.
Stop fighting.
Some of the guys who did that worked on a lot of the guys who worked on Gurren Lagann went and formed this, and their first ever project was Kill la Kill, which is one of my favorite animes ever. They also did Little Witch Academia, which is another one of my favorite animes ever. They have just announced a new show coming out called, and let me get it up just so I get the title correct, Darling in the Franxx, I think. How would you pronounce that one?
Don't think it matters how you pronounce that.
Darling in the Franxx, I'd say.
Franxx? With two X's.
Yeah, it's got 2 X's.
All I know, because they all
Where's the semicolon?
All they released
so is it like a Professor Frink?
I don't know.
Spin-off?
All I know about this, because they only released one trailer in Japanese, because they're a Japanese company, is there's mechs in it, and there's kids piloting the mechs, and I don't know anything else about it.
Yeah. Sounds promising.
Yeah. It looks good. I mean...
I was kidding.
This studio... No, more than anything else, I think they're one of the best studios out there in terms of pure animation quality. Like, their animation is top notch in terms of how it looks, the character design, how characters move. Everything about their animation is top notch. In fact, the only other show I've ever seen to be able to match a Studio Trigger show in terms of smoothness of animation is One Punch Man, which is the best animation I've ever seen out of Japan in terms of a TV show. So that's looking really good. And the last thing I want to talk about
is... the frame rate.
I want to say one thing. The main character looks like Hiro. He used to be called a prodigy, but now he is a crane tail driver. In Mr. Dean, he is troubled with his own shelter.
Rory, I don't know what you want.
That's some English right there.
So the other thing is Critical Role came back last night.
I thought they stopped.
They did.
They started a new season.
Yeah, they're on
they had like 80,000 concurrent viewers or something.
But I thought there was like a whole thing. I thought there was a whole big tragedy.
We talked about this the other...
Yeah, and it was. And that was the end of their first series where they followed, characters from the first series. They're starting a brand new campaign with new characers.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah,
Rory.
we did. And Rory,
you're like, I'm going to watch it.
It's great. And the new episode is really good. Aaron, do you mind spoilers?
No, because I watched part of it. I wasn't like super in tune with it. I was doing other shit at the time.
I really liked it. So Laura's playing a cleric.
Do we even know? They didn't really specify, it seems like, who their characters were.
No, none of it. So you learn throughout the episode of who their characters are. It was really fucking frustrating because I wanted to go to sleep out of it, and they were like, we're not going to tell you what these characters are. So Laura's playing a cleric of the Trickster domain called Jester. Travis is playing a warlock, and the warlock's name is Ford, a human warlock. Laura's playing a tiefling cleric. Taliesin is playing a tiefling blood hunter, which is Matt Mercer's class that he made up, called Mallory, I think his name is. Sam is playing a goblin rogue by the name of Not. Marisha's playing a human monk called Bo. Ashley Johnson's playing an Assamite barbarian, and I forget her name. Yasha, I think her name is.
Asha.
Asha? No, it's Yasha. It's with a Y.
Well, they were calling her Asha, and people were spelling it O-H-S-A.
Well, there's a Y in there. Trust me.
No, whatever. You're wrong, Ashley Johnson. Your character's pronounced different.
And Liam is playing a human wizard called Caleb. And it's really good. I love it so far. Really, really interesting first episode. Great to see him back. So it's coming. The official episode's coming out on Monday on YouTube or on their on geekandsundry.com on the YouTube streaming service. Yeah, watch it. It's good.
So did you talk about a Black Widow movie at all?
Yeah, it's got a writer now. Jack Schaefer, right, is writing the new Black Widow movie.
What has he done?
She.
Well, pardon me, it's commonly referred to as a male.
Look at Adam in 2018, assuming gender.
Nothing.
Jesus Christ.
Nothing prominent. Which is good actually, because I would just like to see a new writer. Like, I know it's always a gamble when you have a writer you don't know a lot about, but I've never seen them have a like Marvel has. I've never seen. What am I talking about? It's rare that Marvel has a writing disaster. And so I'm sure they have good confidence in her ability to write a good script. And if it's amazing, then we have a new writer whose content we can look forward to.
Right.
And like the last few, as I've always talked about in their year in review show, I always like seeing the new directors' works, and they always rank very highly on my list. So that's exciting. And I'm glad the movie has a writer, which implies I don't like technically it's in a weird like standard gray area of its like making and it's like green light status, but I'm excited for the movie. And if
I don't think it's greenlit yet.
Yeah, it's not officially greenlit. So, but it has a writer, and that's a big step. Although you could say the same thing for the Halo movie. So what can you do?
So that's
they named a director, so that's or a writer, so that's a step.
It's a step, yeah.
So that's it for the podcast. Went a little bit over time because we were catching up on some stuff that happened.
Thomas don't mind.
And
Super Lang Podcast.
I guess we'll see everybody next week.
Yup.
Bye,
See you
everyone.
next
Thanks for
time.
watching.
Later.
Bye.